All right, what we need to do now is to take the bedding all off, clamps off, mattress out, mattress support out, the tapes for the headboards off, and we can go ahead is Early American. It's a darker stain. All right, so the stain is on. And we'll let it dry for a couple hours. But either way, it's got to dry. I think it looks great. I'm just so happy with how it looks. I can't wait to see what it looks like in the house. Now, the sheets and the pillowcases are done. We have the linens on our bed, and I think I am satisfied. So now what I need to work on is the quilt. What do you think? I think I may cut these motifs apart because I don't have enough to make a quilt. I have enough in length, but I don't have enough in width. So we have to make this wider. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these motifs apart. And I'm going to see if this will work here on this end. Okay. Boy, that's going to be tight. So, okay, see, that's, if I try to cut it in the center, that's what we have to work with. And there's no way that's not going to ravel as I sew it. So what if we were to cut like this? Or even cut more into the motif, because then as we sew it, we can cover up this motif's pattern, and that will give us, and then I think we can sew a thin white strip down. And then once we get this way, get them cut, sewn this way, we can take, boy, I don't know. I don't know. Because if we put a white strip this way, we have to put a white strip this way. This way. So how do we do that? I think we sew the strips this way. And then we take, because then it'll be as big as the bed that we need it, this way. So then we take and we cut them. We're going to lose every other motif. But I have enough. It shouldn't be a problem. And then we sew the strip into it. I think that's the way it'll be. I need to I'm going to have to think about this before I start cutting anymore, because I want this pattern for my quilt. I have a limited amount of fabric. So what I'm thinking is I can cut this piece off, because see, I can cut this off, and then I'll use this to practice on. And that should leave me plenty to do the quilt. What do you think? Okay, I'm going to practice. Wish me luck. So after looking through all my fabric, this, and looking at this one, the motif is too big. It's not going to work. I don't know what I was thinking of anyway. But I did come across this blouse. And I love how fresh and clean, how just fresh looking this is. I thought, let's go with that. So we'll take Grandpa off the bed, and we'll take the pillows off, and we'll lay this across here. Isn't that cute? Won't that be a cute quilt? And on the back of it, we're going to put this little designed one, because there is little pink there in the pattern. I think it'll look really, really cute. And this is what we're going to go ahead and make the quilt out of. So I'm going to go ahead and get a piece of paper and cut it to the size I want the quilt to be. And I will cut my front piece out, and then I will cut the back piece out and the binding for the edge, and I will find something soft to put in. I want it to be really, really soft, and I'll hand stitch the pattern inside to hold the middle and the two outside pieces together. I'm going to have to hand stitch that and come up with some kind of a little pattern. But this is where we're going here. So let's go ahead and get started on this quilt. So I have the front of the quilt and the back of the quilt stitched together. And I did I don't know what it's called, but I did the stitching in it so that it holds everything together. There's no shifting of the liner. And what we're going to do now is I created the edging binding. I don't know what it's called. And I pressed it to give me a finished edge and a raw edge. So what we're going to do is I want to put the seam where this is going to join on the foot end of the quilt. So you can see this will be across, and this will be head, foot. So I want to put it on the short side. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to pin this in and get it in place. And then we'll stitch it with the machine and not the hand to finish this quilt edge off. So when I come to the corner, I'm going to go up to the corner, then come around to go around the corner. And then I will fold this down so it looks, let me pin this. So it looks like that. And then I'll stitch here and then around the corner, and it should capture all that so it lays nice and flat. That's how I normally do my corners. So see, I just pinned everything in place, and I'll stitch up to the corner. I'll stop, lift up the pressure foot, turn it, and then start sewing down this side. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this all in so we can go ahead and start stitching this last piece to the quilt. We have it all pinned on. Now let's go ahead and sew it on. I think I'm going to start down here in the corner where my fabric overlaps with the ends. All right, we'll take our stick pins out. And we're going to go ahead and cut the corners off to get rid of the bulk in the corners for when we flip that casing around. We'll take and we'll flip this over. So we have the nice finished edge on the top. We're going to turn it over and we'll pull it and we'll pin it, tucking all the raw edges inside this casing that we made. We want to leave just a little bit on the top for decorative. And when we get to the corners now, we're going to lay the center part down, pin it, and then the two sides, we'll pin those in place. So everything will be holding. So it'll look like that on the back side. Look like that on the front side. I'm going to go ahead and work this casing around and then we'll stitch it on. It's all pinned on. So let's go ahead and sew that. Again, I'm going to start where the two ends meet, just because it's a difficult spot to sew. All right, we have it all stitched together. Let's take our pins out and see how it looks on the bed. Here's our little quilt. Soft. And I hope it fits. So we want to pull this down here. There. We're going to have to pin it into place. pillows on. And there we go. We have our bed ready to go. All right, we have our bed. It's ready to go in the bedroom. Next on the list of things to work on is I need to sew a little bit bigger pillowcase for this. Excuse me. Because it's squishing the pillow. And then we need to move on to the curtains. I think that'll be a video in itself because I have some thought processes that might prove a bit time consuming. What I realized was that I neglected to show you the bed in the dollhouse. Grandpa and Phineas are taking a nap. And I think it fits the dollhouse very well. Yes, it's a large piece of furniture, but sometimes you have those large pieces of furniture in your house. So now the next video will be, we're going to work on those curtains. Thanks again for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you soon. Bye.